it going, everyone? The 1MFP here. I hope you're all having a great day today. Today's video is a little bit different from what I normally post on this channel. The channel recently hit 500 subs here on YouTube, and that is just amazing. I am so grateful. Thank all of you who take the time to watch these reaction videos, and all of you who enjoy it, and all of you who leave comments, all of you who like. Thank you so much, I truly appreciate it. In order to celebrate this milestone, I thought I'd go ahead and do a little Q&A video. So on Twitter and at the end of my Regional at Best album reaction, I went ahead and asked you guys what questions you would like answered. And you guys sent some great questions my way. So in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and answer those questions. Question number 1 comes from Team Takage 1. Team Takage is someone who's been supporting this channel since day one. We started roughly around the same time. He posts best of rap battle compilations and anime montages as well. So if you're interested in that type of content, go take a look at his channel. He's great at what he does. He also has a gaming channel, so if you're interested in that, check him out. Now, Team Takage 1's question is, what made you start YouTube? And who's your favorite music artist? Someone else asked a similar question. Positive Productions asked, what made you want to become a YouTuber? So YouTube's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I just wasn't sure in what capacity. And what I mean by that is I wasn't sure what I'd be doing here on YouTube. I've been checking out videos on YouTube since, I don't know, maybe 2006, 2005. The landscape of YouTube changed a lot over time. 2005 YouTube versus 2018 YouTube, very different game. So I always wanted a YouTube channel. You know, back then in 2005 or 2006, whenever it was, I just thought the concept was so cool. You know, you just record a video, you put it out there, and you get to interact with people through those videos. It could be anything. It could have been music, it could have been skits. There's so much you could do with this platform. Back then, I tried posting some videos here and there. Nothing ever really worked out for me because there was no consistency to what I was doing. I'd put a video out there, and then my next video didn't really have anything to do with the last video. It was just, you know, a bunch of different things. But even back then, that was just so cool to me. It wasn't about just being successful on YouTube. It was just the idea of posting something on this platform. I loved it. Now, fast forward into the present day, I still wanted to do these YouTube videos, but I didn't know what I wanted to put out there. I wasn't sure what I could provide that the world would enjoy. And that indecisiveness was really what was holding me back. Me not being sure what to post on YouTube led to me never really doing anything on YouTube. But then my girlfriend is the one who really encouraged me to figure out what it is I wanted to do with YouTube and just do it. So the first step with that was figuring out what I could do that would be enjoyable for people. And one thing that came to mind was reaction videos. This idea itself didn't really start necessarily just with music. It was just a general idea. Anytime you want to go out and buy a set of headphones, for instance, my first instinct before going out to buy anything like that is to go online and check reviews, you know, read what people have to say about the product. Anybody who's gone out and bought that product, I want to know what their opinion is on it. But then also there's people on YouTube who go ahead and review it, and it feels just that much more personal. The more I realized that video reviews were really a thing, the more I wanted to see people's opinions on different things. And that's really where music came into play for me. Sometimes an artist would drop an album and I'd be curious to see what the world thinks of it. Or sometimes there would be one specific song that could be interpreted in multiple different ways. I wanted to see how people would interpret that. I just found that idea so amazing, and then, you know, my girlfriend just pushed me to go ahead and try and do it, see what happens. And that's where it all started. I wanted to post videos here on YouTube. I didn't know what. Reaction videos was one of the ideas, and I just went ahead and started. Early on, I just went with whatever music I thought people would like to see me react to. I reacted to some movie and TV show trailers as well, and one of my first videos that you guys really responded to was my 21 Pilots Levitate reaction. At that time, I was really unfamiliar with 21 Pilots. I had heard a few songs of theirs, and I had liked what I heard, but I never really went out and listened to all of their music. So the things you guys were telling me about that Levitate reaction got me wanting to listen to more of their music and really share that experience with you. So that's what led to that video series. And overall, that's just so cool to me, because had I not done that video, I wouldn't have experienced this music. Just having this channel had such an interesting impact on my life. I consider 21 Pilots to be one of my favorite bands right now. I just love the idea of putting something out and having that have an impact both on myself and someone else. You know, if there's somebody who's watching that video and they truly enjoy it, maybe that'll make their day better. Ultimately, that idea is what made me want to be a YouTuber. It helps you grow as a person, and it also allows you to reach an audience. If I can make anyone's day better through these videos, then that's simply awesome to me. And what made me start YouTube was my girlfriend's encouragement, influence from other people here on YouTube who do a great job with their reactions and who provide content that I enjoyed watching. You know, Nate Allen is one of them that comes to mind for me. He's one of my favorite people to watch here on YouTube. Lost in Vegas is another great channel that I enjoy watching. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Team Takage and Positive Productions. Now, there's a second part to Team Takage's question. That second part also blends in with what Lonely Lana had to say. So Team Takage asked, who's your favorite music artist? Lonely Lana asked, what are your favorite bands / artists? Congrats on 500 subs, by the way. You honestly deserve so many more. Thank you so much for that, Lana. I really appreciate that. And you know, just to build off what I said earlier in this video, my goal here is to provide an experience, both an experience for myself and an experience for the viewer. So, you know, taking this 21 Pilots reaction series, for instance, I put out a video that some people enjoyed, and some people just wanted to see more of me reacting to 21 Pilots and see how I would progress in my interpretations of their music and their videos. So that was an experience both for myself and for people who wanted to see that. These videos had a positive impact on my life in that I got to experience 21 Pilots music, I got to share the experience with the viewers. That was just so special to me, and to see other people enjoying seeing that just means the world to me. So yeah, of course, more subscribers is something that is desirable, but at the same time, I am so grateful for what I have here on this channel. I have so much fun interacting with you guys after posting a video. I love seeing your opinions, I love seeing your interpretations. It's just an amazing feeling, truthfully. So I'm grateful for what I have on this channel. I definitely hope to see it grow more. I definitely hope you guys stick around to see what's to come in the future. And yeah, thank you for that comment. But to answer both your and Team Takage's question, who are my favorite musical artists? So when it comes to favorites, I like thinking of that as staples. Like, I have these staple artists that I continually listen to. So in other words, it's bands and artists whose work have stood the test of time for me. With that said, there are some favorites who you kind of enjoy in the moment, and then over time you kind of stop liking them, or at least you stop liking them as much as you did in that one moment. Those are artists that I would say are artists that I truly enjoy. But favorites is really a band or artist that never really escapes my surroundings. And 3 artists come to mind when I think of favorites in that way. There's no particular order to this, but the 3 artists in question are the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Lil Wayne, and Banks. To break down the reason why I consider those 3 to be favorites for me, just to kind of give you a better idea of what I mean by favorites here. The Red Hot Chili Peppers, the first time I'd heard them was way back in my childhood. At that time, I didn't really listen to albums or anything like that. I didn't have access to the internet to go check out other content from the band. I didn't have any of those means back then. So my main resource for listening to music was TV, radio, and back then they had Californication that came out, and there was the song Californication off of Californication, the album. And I heard that song, and back then I was too young to truly understand what the song meant, but I found the sound of it to be just so beautiful. And then they had some other songs that they released as singles. You know, they had Scar Tissue, that one got a lot of radio play. But the point I'm trying to get at here is just hearing those songs and made me want to hear more. So the moment I had the opportunity to go check out some more of the Red Hot Chili Peppers' work, I went ahead and did so. I was blown away by Stadium Arcadium, and now to this day, you know, since then, there isn't a time where I don't want to listen to some Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anytime I feel like my mind is wandering, some Red Hot Chili Peppers will let me get back in the zone and put my 2 feet back on the ground. Lil Wayne, this is another artist I heard when I was younger. I had some friends that were really into rap music, and they had this period where they were really into southern rap music. And that was the first time I heard Lil Wayne. This was prior to him even having the Carter series. He had this album called Lights Out, and the first song I ever heard from him was off of that album. It was called Shine. And you know, hearing that song, it was the first instance where I was intrigued by Lil Wayne. Now, I wouldn't have called Lil Wayne my favorite back then, and this is something that probably distinguishes Lil Wayne from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it'll give you an even better idea of what I mean by favorites. It's not about, you know, liking something the first time you hear it and just liking it forever after that. With Lil Wayne, he really became my favorite right before Carter 2 came out. He had this mixtape, it was called The Suffix, And on that mixtape, he basically took a bunch of beats that were hits at that time and he turned them into his own songs. He just rapped over them, and I found it simply amazing. He had a flow that it just connected with me. It was so fluid and so interesting. And the moment that connection happened, he never stopped being one of my favorites. I keep going back to his music, I keep enjoying it. It never really loses its appeal for me. Now Banks is a little bit more new. She's an alternative pop artist. I first heard her around 2014 or 2015, I think. I was just driving around and then the song came on the radio. It was called Begging for Thread. I just loved her voice as soon as I heard that song, and I was like, I really need to hear more from this artist. So I checked out her album. It's called Goddess. Loved it. And ever since that time, her music never really lost its appeal on me neither. I keep going back to it. I keep being amazed by it. So these are three artists that I have consistently liked. The moment that connection was made where I truly enjoyed their music, there's never a moment where that connection broke. Then there's some artists who I liked a lot at certain periods, and then I wouldn't say that connection necessarily broke, but I stopped listening to their music as much, you know, to the point where sometimes I wasn't listening to any of their music. And, you know, at some point I'd be reminded that I like them. You know, just you hear something that reminds you of their music, then you're like, yeah, I want to listen to them. You go back through your devices and you find their music. You go back to enjoying them. Some artists that come to mind when I think of that is Epica, Lacuna Coil. Those are two symphonic metal bands. I really enjoy both those bands. I really love them. They have lead vocalists who have very powerful voices, and it just hits a special place within when I hear them hit the notes they're able to hit and when they say the things that they say. Another band that really comes to mind is 3 Days Grace. This is a band that really had a huge impact on me when they dropped 1X. That was one of their albums that came in the mid-2000s. I really enjoyed their music a lot for like a good period of time there. And this is what really, I think, made me want to think of favorites in different ways, because, you know, I like them a lot through that period, but then for several years I had not listened to them. They had this album called Life Starts Now that came 3 years after 1X, and I enjoyed that. Then their next album after that came 3 years after that, Transit of Venus. That was 2012, and I hadn't heard that music until 2015. So that just gives you an idea. Like, I can't put them in the same category as a Red Hot Chili Peppers for me, because, you know, the moment a Red Hot Chili Peppers album comes out, I'm gonna listen to it. Or, you know, at least very soon after. Whereas 3 Days Grace, they really had a huge impact on me, but years went by where I didn't really listen to any of their music at all. So yes, I consider 3 Days Grace to be a favorite, but if we're talking about favorites, my staple artists are the three I mentioned before. Then, you know, there's 21 Pilots, and you could kind of see why I can't put 21 Pilots in my favorite list yet. One of the main criteria is it needs to stand the test of time for me. I only really started getting into 21 Pilots mid-August, I guess. So I would say 21 Pilots is a favorite of mine as well, but we'll have to stay tuned to see how much of a favorite. Thank you both for sending that question my way. The next question is from Reed Coles, and Reed Coles asks, what brought you into music before you made this channel, and what would be your favorite movie and why? To answer your first question, what brought me into music before this channel? So the thing that really got me into music was how it made me feel. I feel like there's just so many ways to connect to music. You could be having a great day and then there's just this song that's gonna make it even better. It just took this good feeling and pushed it to the next level. You bring up movies in the second part of your question. And, you know, to touch on movies, music is a huge part of movies. It really adds to the narrative. It really allows the people behind the movie to take the scene and add something to it that'll really get them to get the viewers to feel the way they want them to feel. That's really what made me enjoy music. It was understanding the power of it. You could be in a good mood, music will push it to the next level. You could be in a bad mood, music will help you out and, you know, get you back on your feet. So that's what really got me into music. It was understanding its impact. Another way I could put this is, you know, there's so many things that's being said every day. Those things won't always connect with you. It's not always about what's being said, it's about how it's being said. Music is a form of expression where you have sounds that are just hitting you in different ways. And then if you have a vocalist on the track, not all tracks have vocalists, but sometimes the mixture of those sounds with the things that the vocalist is saying and how they're saying it, it'll spark a thought in your mind that will just change the way you see certain things. For that reason, I just feel music is extremely powerful. So that's what got me into music. What is my favorite movie? I don't know that I have a favorite movie. The Dark Knight trilogy is something that comes to mind. I really enjoy that. I think Christopher Nolan did a great job with that trilogy. I think Hans Zimmer is a mastermind when it comes to musical scores. And then on top of that, you know, you had Tom Hardy as Bane, you had Heath Ledger as Joker, Christian Bale did a great job as Batman. You put all of those elements together, I feel like that trilogy is a masterpiece. The next question is from Jules R. You played a bit of guitar on one of your reactions. Are you in a band, and if so, what kind of music do you play? So I did indeed play a bit of guitar in one of my videos. I believe it was the Trench reaction. Yeah, it was, because it was to Jumpsuit. This is the guitar I played right here. Fender oh my goodness, you can't see it, it's not in frame. Here it is. My Fender Stratocaster. Fun fact, I got this specific guitar because John Frusciante of the Red Hot Chili Peppers played that guitar. The Red Hot Chili Peppers' current guitarist, Josh Klinghoffer, also plays it. So yeah, I absolutely wanted to buy this guitar because of how important John Frusciante and Josh Klinghoffer's guitar playing is for me. But that is not your question. Are you in a band? And if so, what kind of music do you play? I am not in a band. The first time I actually played was like in grade 7. We had this music class where we had to choose between keyboard and guitar. I just always loved the sound of guitar, so I went ahead and chose that class. Back then, I didn't really take music that seriously. In terms of, you know, playing music, I just thought of music as something that I could listen to and something that I enjoyed. Later on in life, I started getting more and more into music. I started having a deeper appreciation for what they're doing on songs. So, like, I guess around, man, I don't know, 7-ish years ago, I started playing a little bit of acoustic guitar. That lasted something like 3 months. That was all about maturity. You know, it's about how bad you want something and what you're willing to do to accomplish it. Back then, I wanted to be able to play guitar well, but I wasn't willing to put in the time and effort to learn it. So I was interested in the end goal, but I wasn't interested in the process. For that reason, it took a long time before I ever learned guitar. But then about 2 years ago, I told myself I really need to learn this. I was just listening to music and I was blown away by these guitar solos, and I was like, you know what, I really want to be able to do that one day. So I started learning from scratch. I went back down to the basics, and it's an ongoing process. I'm continuing to learn. I'm not where I want to be with my guitar playing, but I'm gonna keep working at it. I'm not letting it go this time. But to answer what kind of music do I play, you know, I'm not in a band, but the moment I hear a song that I really enjoy, I'll try and figure out what the progression is, and from there I'll try and kind of figure out what I could do to play something that sounds like the song. And if I can't figure it out, I'll go online and find tabs, and I'll find sheet music, and yeah, I just try and learn. And our next question is brought to us by Tokyo Blue. Tokyo Blue asks, what are your top 10 favorite rock albums? Top 10 songs. So my list of top 10 favorite songs would be really difficult to make just because it really depends on the mood. It would just be very interchangeable. My top 10 favorite rock albums would be a bit easier to answer, but I don't think that there is a top 10 for me necessarily. The way I judge albums is based on the experience as a whole, so listening to the albums from the beginning to the end, which ones really provide me with experiences that I will forever remember, and which ones do I go back to for more. So it's not so much about there being a few good songs on the album, it really has to be an experience from the beginning till the end of the album. And another thing, I don't like just filling the top 10s with a bunch of things from my favorite artist or a bunch of things from one specific artist. I'll stick to one album per artist. So first, there's gonna be the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The album I'll choose here is By the Way. As much as I enjoy their other albums, By the Way is the album I listen to beginning to end from the Red Hot Chili Peppers the most. With By the Way, they really went for a variety of sounds, and in doing so, they really keep the album fresh. So if you just want to go to it to listen to a song, there's an interesting variety to choose from that will correspond to whatever you're looking for. But if you're looking to listen to the album from the beginning to the end, that variety will help just keep things fresh along the way. So By the Way would definitely be among my favorite rock albums of all time, and my favorite albums of all time, period. Another album that would have to be on that list is 1X by 3 Days Grace. It's an album I mentioned earlier in this video. There's a lot of powerful songs in there. Adam Gontier's voice is just amazing on it throughout the whole album. The instrumentals that are accompanying that voice are really powerful as well and very edgy. It makes for an awesome experience. In a similar light to what I was talking about when I brought up By the Way, 21 Pilots' Trench definitely has to be there. There's just this interesting variety of sounds that keeps things fresh on the album. The themes in each song keeps you paying attention as you go along. There's an interesting narrative throughout the album that really makes it an awesome experience for the listener if they allow themselves to really dive into the music. With 21 Pilots, it was also a bit difficult to choose which album to go with here. I recently reacted to Regional at Best and I enjoyed that one a lot, but I feel Trench had the edge in terms of the variety of sounds. And the same thing holds true for Vessel. It was a very powerful album, but the variety of sounds mixed with the messages on Trench really gives it the edge. Also on my list of favorites would have to be number 3 by Dot Hacker. Josh Klinghoffer, the lead guitarist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, he's the lead vocalist for Dot Hacker. And if you listen to the Red Hot Chili Peppers' last 2 albums, The Getaway and I'm With You, he does backing vocals there. I find his voice amazing and he's a musical genius in my opinion, so I had to give Dot Hacker's number 3 listen when it came out. It came out almost 2 years ago now, and I was completely amazed with what I heard. This is another album where I could listen to it from the beginning to the end, and it will keep my interest throughout the entirety of the album. Next, I would say, is Requiem for the Indifferent by Epica. Symphonic metal overall just has a very beautiful sound to me. Then you have a vocalist as powerful as Simone Simmons. You have this orchestral music that's tied in with metal sounds. I'm continually amazed as I listen to the music, and that's what a good album is all about for me. Another album I would put in my top 10 favorite rock albums is Nirvana's Nevermind. That's just another album that I've listened to so many times, time and time again. There's no way I can't put it in this list. And I mean, with that said, I think that's 6 albums. I don't know that there is anything more in my top 10. So Red Hot Chili Peppers, By the Way, Dot Hacker's number 3, Nirvana's Nevermind, Epica's Requiem for the Indifferent, 21 Pilots' Trench, and 3 Days Grace's 1X. Now for my favorite rock songs, again this one's very difficult just because of how many different things could influence what my favorite songs are at a specific moment. With Red Hot Chili Peppers alone, I could probably make a top 10 here. Songs that come to mind for that would be Easily, Dosed, Don't Forget Me, Desecration Smile, Wet Sand, Ethiopia, Goodbye Angels, She Looks to Me, Snow, I Could Have Lied. Those are my favorites from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and if you make me choose one favorite from that list, it would definitely vary day to day. So I don't know what I would choose as a favorite there, but any one of those would definitely go in my favorites. Beseech by Dot Hacker would be in there. That's one of the songs off of number 3. Storm the Sorrow from Epica. That's one of the songs from Requiem for the Indifferent. Lacuna Coil's Nothing Stands in the Way. Within Temptation's Angels. 3 Days Grace's Get Out Alive. Bon Jovi's Wanted Dead or Alive. 21 Pilots. That's another one where it's hard for me to choose a clear favorite. Chlorine is one of them that is definitely a favorite for me right now. We'll see if it stands the test of time. I definitely think it will. The metaphor is just so strong. The sound is very beautiful. Another one that I would put in there is Clear. That one I just recently heard off of Regional at Best, and I can't stop playing it. It's amazing to me. Then I would say Alter Bridge's Coming Home. Alter Bridge's Metalingus is another one. I would put Turn the Page by Metallica in there. I would put Witch Image by Ghost in there. I would also put Square Hammer by Ghost in there. I would have to definitely include Rancid's Time Bomb, Mr. Crowley by Ozzy Osbourne, and A Tout le Monde by Megadeth. So that's probably over 10, but these are songs that just come to mind right now for my top 10 rock songs. You ask me this in a month or in a year, it'll probably change, I don't know, but these are songs that I have consistently liked. I'm probably still forgetting some, and if I had to shrink this to 10, it would be a difficult task. But yeah, those are my favorite rock albums, those are my favorite rock songs. The next question comes to us from Ether Reality. Do you think you'll go to a Top concert anytime in the future? After having reacted to the Trench videos, after reacting to Blurry Face and Vessel, I knew I definitely wanted to see 21 Pilots live, And you guys were mentioning how awesome they are live as well, so that hyped me up even more. But then I looked at their tour dates and I noticed Canada wasn't on the list at all. Then just a few days before Trench came out, they announced a bunch of additional tour dates. And on the list was a bunch of Canadian venues. And I mean, I'm from Canada, which is why I was looking for Canadian venues. So the moment I saw that they had a show here in my hometown, I knew I absolutely had to go. So the day the tickets were released, I managed to get my hands on some. I don't remember the exact date, but I know it's in May. So I will be going to a 21 Pilots concert. I'm really hyped up about that. I enjoy their music a lot. I enjoy what they do with their music. Trench is currently in my favorite albums of all time, and I don't think it's moving from there. I've given that album so many listens already, and it simply doesn't get stale for me, so I'm really excited for this. Next question is coming to us from Adaya. She asks, when's your birthday? My birthday is on September 8th. Ideas Matter asks, what is your background? I wonder if you are a counselor, a teacher. Yours is my favorite channel for 21 Pilots analysis. So I wonder what you are bringing to the discussion from your education and training. Thanks. Thank you for your question. So my educational background is in urban planning. I have a bachelor's degree with a major in urban planning and a minor in political science. But I think to better answer your question and what I bring to the table from my background, I think it's best that I rewind a little further in my life and go back to the beginnings. So my whole life, I was more of an observer and a listener before I was a talker or a communicator. And for that reason, I was always focused on identifying trends and analyzing people's approaches and how they decide to say things and how they react to certain things. That's just how I've been for as long as I could remember. And on top of that, my mother tongue is English, but the city and the province I live in, the primary language is French. As such, I had to go to a French elementary and secondary school. I know the education systems are a bit different between Canada and anywhere else in the world, really. Even within Canada, the education system is different across certain provinces. So, whereas some people, secondary school is from grade 7 to grade 12, I believe. Here in Quebec, we have grades 7 to 11, and then you have CEGEP, which stands for Collège d'Enseignement Général et Professionnel. So instead of a grade 12, basically you go there for 2 or 3 years, and that preps you for your undergraduate years. But yeah, secondary school here, what I mean by that is grade 7 to 11. So basically from kindergarten to grade 11, I was in a French school. I started from zero, I didn't know any French going into that. It was definitely important for me to listen early on because that's how I was going to learn this language that I never spoke prior. So I guess the experience mixed with my personality is what made me have that approach to learning. And furthermore, I guess that experience really amplified how much of a listener and how much of an observer I was. One of the problems I noticed for myself, I can't speak for anyone else, but for myself, in being a listener and an observer, my communication skills were lacking at first. I had all these thoughts and I didn't know how to communicate them. And listening and observing so much, you're more likely to mimic when you're speaking rather than getting a firm grasp of expressing yourself with your actual thoughts. So communicating was something I had to work on, and something that helped me in that regard was art. Things such as graphic design really allowed me to bridge that gap, and for that reason I decided to pursue that in CEGEP. Again, going back to CEGEP, it's something that's supposed to prepare you for university, and as such it's designed in a way where it's providing general education, but it also follows the format of university, so you have specific concentrations, and the concentration I chose was art. In the first semester it was very general, but after a semester you have to choose between one of 3 different branches. The 3 branches were photography, studio/digital art, and film. After a semester, I was really gravitating towards film. There was a lot of different aspects about it that was appealing to me. One of them being how much they focus on the art of communicating different ideas in different ways. I knew that that experience would allow me to really work on myself in a way that would be very unique. So when I had to make that decision of which branch I was going to choose, I chose film. And I really loved it. There were classes that were focusing on all the things that goes behind movie making and live TV. Then there was script writing, which really brought out a side of me where, again, it allowed me to bring out thoughts that I didn't know how to bring out at first. Then there were film study classes where you had to look at a film and approach it in an analytical way where you had to break down the different scenes and what they meant to the movie, what they provided to the movie, what message they're conveying. I would say that experience alone is something that really carried on to the way I approach these YouTube videos. But overall, I would say this program is one of the things that were very instrumental in me shaping my style of communication. Another thing that helped is how much reading goes into attaining an undergraduate degree. Going into urban planning, there's a lot of reading and writing that goes into that. There's a lot of focus on semantics and how things that look and sound so similar could be so different. So I hope that answers your question. At a basic level, I would say I'm more of an observer and more of a listener. Communication is something that I learned over time through experiences. The combination of my personality with that experience is really what forms my approach to these videos and how I listen to music. Next question comes to us from Dragon Mountain Gaming. Why does an orange smell like an orange even though orange is a color? I'm not sure, but I would assume it's along the same reasons as why feet can smell and a nose can run. Next question comes to us from Catalina Havana. Now, Catalina is another YouTuber who started around the same time as me, and she's been super supportive since day one. So thank you so much, Catalina. She does amazing covers for songs, and she films skits for them. She puts a lot of effort into this. So if you enjoy that type of content, check out her channel. Catalina's question is, what other artists or bands do you have coming up? Please tell us. So I'm definitely going to be continuing with artists I have already reacted to. So 21 Pilots for sure. NF is someone that was requested a bunch, and I reacted to Remember This recently. So I'm going to be continuing with the NF reactions for sure. I reacted to Young Blood by 5 Seconds of Summer. I really like their sound, so I want to check out some more 5 Seconds of Summer. My BTS reactions kind of functioned as my introduction to K-pop. It's really fun to approach something with the way I think of music and the way I like to analyze lyrics without understanding the language. Thankfully they have subtitles, and when there aren't subtitles, thankfully their fan base is really awesome and they provide English translations of the lyrics. So I enjoy that a lot. I'm definitely going to be doing more BTS reactions, and I'm also going to be reacting to their individual members' music. There's the band Young Blood. I reacted to Tin Pan Boy from them. I was amazed at the level of artistry that went into the songwriting for that song, so I really want to check out some more Young Blood. Another artist that I reacted to in the past that comes to mind now that I haven't reacted to in a while is Logic. I definitely want to react to him some more. And aside from that, I mean, there's some artists that I see requested. Melanie Martinez comes to mind. Electric Light Orchestras is another. I know some viewers requested some Panic at the Disco. Lana Del Rey was requested a couple of times. So I want to check out all those artists. And you know, if any one of you who's watching this video has any requests, anything you would like to see me react to, just leave it in the comments down below in any video really. And yeah, I hope that answers your questions. I hope I answered everyone's questions. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to my answers. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A overall. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun with this. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I always appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time. Have a great day, y'all.